She's going to break a lot of hearts. She's going to get all the attention. They say pretty privilege opens lots of doors, but what you don't know is that oftentimes those doors lead to a dungeon. And if you want to hear what I'm talking about, keep watching. There's lots of talk about being beautiful and what pretty privilege brings, the advantages, sometimes the disadvantages. But what they don't really tell you are the dangers as well. You can't place everything on being attractive. Sadly, the world is so shallow that being attractive or being beautiful makes life a little easier, right? Well, it can also bring unwanted attention, scary attention. And I'm going to share with you a couple of stories, cautionary tales, if you will. And these are my opinions, my thoughts. I am not pointing fingers at anyone. What I'm sharing today, that in this very superficial world, women can get lost. We can forget that there are predators out there. And I want to share a couple of stories. Unwanted attention. When you are a young girl and you're just trying to go to school, you're in grade school, middle school, high school, college, and on, and you are just trying to live your life, sometimes there are people who are watching you. If you are particularly attractive or have a special look about you or the way you carry yourself, you are going to draw attention. And sometimes that attention can be dangerous. I was in high school and I think I was about 16. I was taking a bus to school and I was standing at the bus stop and I could see the back of my house from that bus stop. Standing there alone every day, I stood there. Sometimes there were other kids, but this particular week I was on that bus stop alone. I think I had changed the time that I was going to school for whatever project or something. And there was a car, and I will never forget. It was a Mercedes. It was like a brownish Mercedes. And this man, he waved the first time. And I was always really kind of shy. So I may have smiled or something. I don't remember that part. But he drove by the next day and he stopped and he said, "Where are you going?" "School." "You need a ride?" "No." "Okay." So he kept going. The next day, he stopped again. And one of the few times that I wore jeans, he said, "You look really cute in those jeans." And I'll never forget it. It instantly made me feel like I was doing something wrong. I felt like I was wearing something wrong and I was just a kid. I had on a pair of jeans and I'm sure like a sweater and a jacket or something. I was not looking sexy. That was not in my vocabulary at all. So I didn't even really think about that or know what that truly meant. I didn't say anything to him. I do remember that. I kind of looked away and fidgeted with my book. He pulled off. I went home and I told my mother about this man in his car and what he was doing. It was the second day. She called the police and she told them that her daughter had been bothered by some man. His license plate had Act 2 on it. I will never forget it. His license plate, it was weird to me. There's nothing really weird about Act 2, but it was something weird about it. And to this day, it gives me the chills just thinking about it, but I want to share this with you guys. My mother called the police, and the next morning she said, and she stayed home a little bit from work. They told me, "Go to that bus stop like normal, and we're going to be watching you." And I said, "You know what? He's not going to show up again. There was just something weird. I was feeling weird. But the police were on 3 different corners of the house. I could see them. They were like a street away, but my street was like a street over. But I could see through our drive. Um, what do you call those? Like the carport. I could see the garage and the carport, and then you could see our house. And I knew I was going to be okay regardless. And I was like, okay, police officers are here watching me. I felt kind of special. Like, why won't they just give me a ride to school? I was a teenager. I didn't understand what they were doing. This man, here comes Mr. Act 2. His car comes again, slows down. For some reason, and I have no idea. And I know I did not tip him off. I was very scared. I didn't want him to stop. I was nervous. I didn't know what he was going to say. For some reason, he slowed down and he kept going. He didn't say one word to me. And the next day, there were some friends who were on the bus stop as well. And I did not see that car again. I know that he saw those police cars somehow. That means that he was watching me. And I don't know what he was up to. I don't know what he had planned. Maybe nothing, but I don't think it was nothing because he kept going and he saw those police cars. I don't want to say I was a cute girl, but I was. I didn't look much different than I look today, but I was a teenager and I did not deal with the boys. I just went about my business. And it makes me nervous and scared talking about this to this day because that is some of the things that happens to people who stand out. You may have some kind of special aura, or vibe about you is a better word, and people notice it, or you're attractive, or you're beautiful. They notice it, and they have bad intentions. Ever since then, whenever I go somewhere, I'm always nervous that someone is watching me and paying attention to my surroundings. This is what happens. This is what people do to you. They can scar you. They can mess up your psyche. And you meant nothing by it, but it's unwanted attention that can hurt you almost for the rest of your life. Manipulative abuse. What I mean by that is, have you ever met someone who was so charismatic, such a talker, charming, really good looking, or wealthy? He may have even been famous. And you are captivated. And he likes you, and all he says is how beautiful you are. You're special. You are absolutely stunning. You're going to go places. I want to buy you. I want to give you everything. If you are a young girl in your 20s, but even some of us older women have fallen for that because the guy seems perfect. He's so charming and so handsome and nice to you all the time until the rug gets pulled under your feet. You can start to see the signs. He wants you to be in his little box. Remember those doors that open? People who are attractive, who are considered beautiful by the world standards. He wants to make you his. He owns you. You start to lose your friends. You don't spend time with your friends. You start neglecting your family members. You don't go to functions. Or you want to bring him, and he doesn't want to be a part of it. He wants you all to himself. These are things that can happen and do happen. I'm sure some of you, something I've said so far has resonated with you, and we have to be careful. We have to protect ourselves. I, in my 20s, spent a lot of time with people who were considered the cream of the crop. Handsome, wealthy, smart, and they were so nice. Well, I found out the hard way that they had motives, and they were wolves in sheep's clothing as well, because the emotional battery started. You start to feel bad about yourself. They break you down. These are the things that people don't talk about. Everyone wants to be so beautiful. Everyone wants to look like this celebrity and get these privileges. And that's fine. You know, I'm not sitting here saying that being attractive doesn't help in a lot of ways. And unfortunately, the world that we live in, it really does. However, you need to be careful with that because it can really alter your life in ways that you do not want. There's always a sacrifice. I'm going to tell you something about someone that I thought was my boyfriend. My husband knows this story. I told him. And sometimes you still are scarred by these things. You don't trust. My husband and my father are probably the only men that I truly trust in this world. And that's really sad because you never know who people are. And I've been with my husband for decades. Okay. So I know him. I know some of you will say, well, you don't really know. Yes, I know my husband and I know the way he's treated me and he makes me feel safe. But before he came along, I was with people who made me feel terrified a lot. There was a guy, he was so charming. Even some of my family liked him. He was so good at what he did. And he would always say, "You're so beautiful. You're so beautiful," to the point where I got sick of hearing that. I had a lot more to bring to the table because I knew I was smart. I had goals in my life, things that a lot of people are attracted to. But all he talked about was how beautiful I was and you're so classy and this and that. Well, one day he changed just like that. Or at least to me, he changed. He was always that person. And something happened in a conversation that he did not appreciate. And he had met my parents, he'd met everyone. He said, "If it were not for your father and who I know he is and what he would do," he told me that he would physically do something to me. Now, I'm not going to say what he said he would do, but I was most likely going to end up in a hospital. That threat let me know I got to make some changes in my life, the people that I'm surrounded with. And it also closed me down. It shut me down to a lot, made me not trust people. A person can start out so wonderful and change overnight. And it's like, what am I doing? Am I trying to be too cute? No, you're being yourself. It's not your fault. It's the people out here, but you have to pay attention. And you cannot ignore the signs. I saw the signs. It didn't happen overnight. I saw the signs. And this has happened more than once. So it's like, what type of people was I attracting? The wrong attention. They saw something in me that they felt was weak and they preyed on it. And the same can happen to you and may have happened to you. I'm sure some of you watching this understand what I'm saying. And it's really hurtful. So just be careful. You have to almost vet the people that you have in your life, especially if they come out of nowhere and they seem too good to be true. Because most of the time, if someone seems too good to be true, he's so wonderful. He is just so handsome and everybody loves him. He's famous and he likes me. Well, he's going to control you. Not every single person that has these qualities of kindness and handsome, and even ones that have money. Not all of them. I'm not saying that. But you have to pay attention. And when we don't pay attention, or they see that naiveness in us, they know that they can manipulate you. And the next thing you know, you are taken advantage of. And sometimes it can end very badly. There are so many women, you'll see some of their faces throughout this video, who were taken advantage of. They were so beautiful, and their opportunities were amazing. And they were taken advantage of by many people. And it's so sad. Their stories ended sadly. And it's all because people took advantage of them, took advantage of their beauty. These were just women who were themselves. There was something about them that the industry or people in real life enjoyed about them. But all it took were the wrong somebodies to start to manipulate their life. And next thing you know, they're not here anymore. Jealousy. Jealousy is such a horrible thing because it can cause people around you to try to ruin you. They can start to say things to you that are so out of character. I thought you were my friend. And all of a sudden, they are yelling at you, saying that you think you're better than others, saying this and that, when honestly, deep down inside, at least I can speak for myself, I've never thought I was better than anyone else on this planet. And that is the honest to God truth. But I've had people tell me that just to hurt me to the core because they knew that it would. I thought you were my friend. And all of a sudden now you're behaving so jealous that makes you retreat into yourself and be a loner. I really enjoy my time alone more than anything, more than going out to a party or gathering, even if it's to the Oscars or whatever. I look forward to coming home because I never know what's going to come through that door. That is just something that I probably need to work on, but in all these decades, I really don't see that going away. But I've seen what happens when you carry yourself a certain way, when you are attractive, when you are beautiful. I've watched people get treated so poorly and they did nothing wrong. And I've watched them be bullied. I've been bullied my whole life. Classmates, at work, bosses, you know, just threatened even on the job for no reason, to the point where you feel nervous and scared. You should never feel scared on your job. You should never feel scared in your just neighborhood or even a place of worship, whatever. I've heard horrible stories, you know. Teenagers and grown women or men should never feel threatened because someone else is insecure and they have low self-esteem. It's not about you. You should be able to be your beautiful self, your elegant, beautiful, kind self without people attacking you. But just pay attention. You hear me continually saying, pay close attention. Pay attention to people. Pay attention to what they say. People will always reveal who they are. And sometimes we want to belong. We want to be accepted or prove that we're not who they're saying we are. That we'll let things go. But sometimes when you let things go, it turns out bad for you. And I wanted to just share this today because it has been on my mind. And it's always on my mind because I always run into someone who will say something or make me feel bad for no reason. And my husband says, just blow that off. He's really good about that. But when it comes to me, he sees when it hurts me, someone I thought was a friend or something happened in business or whatever, and it was nothing. And if I'm wrong and brought on that action, I'd be the first person to admit it. But when it's done out of jealousy, when it's done out of spite. They don't want you to get a certain opportunity because they feel that you didn't deserve it, that it was given to you because of a certain way that you look. But honestly, every opportunity I've gotten, I'm going to say I deserved it because I either worked for it or placed myself in a right position to receive that opportunity. So I don't have any regrets about that. But to be punished by people because they're insecure, it's quite unfair. And I just want to say, continue to be yourself. Be you. Be beautiful. Wear the things that you enjoy. Wear your jewelry, but don't put yourself in situations where you see danger coming. You will always see it coming. You know, you'll always see that guy. He'll say something that is your cue to leave. You will always hear a friend say something that is your cue to dismiss yourself from that situation. You'll always see it. Beauty has its privileges, but beauty brings danger into your territory quite a bit. So be careful, ladies and gentlemen. This is not just something for the girls, okay? This is for anybody. There's something about it. And I'm not saying like this video is only for the people who are beautiful. When I'm talking about beautiful, and I should have said this earlier to clarify, when you are a good person, when you are beautiful inside as well, people do not like that. And they will try to tear you down. Who does she think she is, to be different? Got people liking her. And then you are a target for some reason. It's silly. So just be careful and just sometimes we just need to tend to our business and not invite everyone in because not everyone has good intentions. So with that, I just wish you guys well. Thank you for sitting here with me. I didn't want to make this too long, but it got a little emotional and the memories and so forth. But thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you guys. And wherever you are in the world, I hope you're having a very nice morning, afternoon, or evening. And we'll see you on the next video. You take care. Bye.